Welcome to the Lorehounds and to the Canon Padawan Supercast. I'm Elysia, and I'm your host today for the officially unofficial Best Acolyte Wrap-Up Podcast game show you'll ever hear for as long as you're listening to this episode. For the record, this episode was recorded July 23rd, 2024, and for this episode, all Star Wars spoilers are fair game. Movies, TV, live action or animated, books, comics, and anything else you can think of. You're welcome, /I'm sorry. Spoilers incoming. And stay tuned until the end for more info on what Star Wars and other content is coming up and a Lore Founder opportunity that's closing in a few days after this drops. So we've got a full house today. There's 4 of us here on the mic with one more waiting for a special round 2 game twist. We've got John here, of course. Hello.
Hello, I'm still here, and as always, tickled by all of your game show antics.
And David is the 5th voice waiting in the wings. You'll hear from him later this episode. But let me start by checking in with 2 voices you've heard from in feedback about the Acolyte. But now that I have you here, hello, Marilyn and Jean.
Hello, Elysia.
Hello. Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much. This is a new thing for me, so it's very exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you both here. Jean, let's start with you. What did you think of this first season of The Acolyte overall?
Oh, I absolutely loved it. I thought it was great. There's, I get caught up in the action. I get caught up in the story. I got caught up in everything that had to do with how the Force is being used and not used. I just thought it was great. I really like the focus on other ways other than the Jedi. I think it's a really great thing to focus on and try to get to, because the Jedi are not the only Force users in the universe. And it's interesting to see how other people might view it. I absolutely love Chimera.
Right. Great villain.
Probably. He's a great villain and that owes a lot to Jason. Because he did a tremendous job.
Wait, Jason?
Yes,
Mendoza?
Jason.
This is the first one. This is the first one of the night where he's Jason Mendoza instead of Manny Jacinta.
Yes,
and not the last.
Yeah. It won't be the last. But yeah, I just had a blast watching it. I thought it was really well done. It was well executed. The visuals were on point for me. And the story gripped me. So yeah, I'm totally on board with season 2. Whenever that happens, it better happen. And let's move forward.
Awesome. Yeah, agree. And Marilyn, how about you? You've had some time to think about it since the season wrapped up. Have your thoughts changed at all, or how are you feeling about it?
No, I think it's a fabulous show. I mean, the fact that it's eliciting so much strong response from so many people tells me that they're definitely firing on all cylinders. And there's a whole bunch of lore and Easter eggs that I think are just blowing right past me because I don't have the depth knowledge that a lot of people do. But I don't feel as though I'm missing something.
Good.
Right? So, I can take the story on its own terms and enjoy it a lot. And it's giving me a lot to think about. I don't always agree with all the treatments that they give. And I had a lot of fun on Discord, kind of nudging people to think of things in a little slightly different way or different perspective. And I know that the whole point of this is to set up why the Jedi fell, 132 years from now. But I want to complicate it. I don't want it to be simplified. I don't, want this solid line, good guy, bad guy drawn. I mean, I think they're doing a pretty good job of that. People can interpret that however they want to, of course.
Right.
But they're, I'm always trying to think of the totality and not just an us versus them, which is so much too easy for us to slide into these days. But I also have found myself wondering, okay, so just what is the definition of member berries versus, oh, I'm so glad they brought in this person because he's so cool and I know him so well. I mean, I'm sorry. I one person's member berry is another person's Star Wars
I
crush.
think
Cringe
it's
stew.
Yeah,
Cringe
but it's
stew.
also can be excitement for, like, for instance, with Plagueis, I think it's a lot of it is excitement for, like, oh, now we're going to get a really good story. And for Yoda, yeah, that's some more member berries. But it's not necessarily member berries. It is, you do have to acknowledge he's there, he exists. They keep having him go off into space because they don't want to overuse him, but he's around.
Well, and of course, if Yoda is my member berry, then clearly Plagueis is your member berry. So, let's
Yeah,
all have member berries together and not use it as a pejorative, but just
right.
as a great addition.
Right. Yeah, no, I was just meant to say, like, what I'm excited about with Plagueis is that we don't know his story in canon yet. So
Right.
it's like a blank slate.
Sure.
Yeah.
And
But just the
also,
fact that he's there and you know his name and you recognized him from the creepy fingers going around the corner.
Right. Yeah. And his
it's
face.
already a part of your universe.
Mhm.
And for
That's
me,
true.
it was like, I don't know who
Yeah,
this is.
creepy cave guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
but also let's acknowledge that nostalgia is used as this pejorative a lot of the time. And in the end, like, what elicits feelings from us is why we make art. And that's
Yeah.
okay to have nostalgia be one of the, as long as it's not the only brush you paint with, it is okay for it to be part of your palette.
Yeah, that's my point. Thank you.
Yep. So any special moments or favorites, things, scenes, characters you want to shout out up top, Marilyn?
Well, I really do like May and Osha. I like what they're doing with it. I like being able to try and come up with a concept of what this might be and what it might imply. In the Discord, I mentioned this idea of the twin moons of Brandok. And here are these two beings who are more than simply twins. They are a double being.
Right.
And they require each other in order to be that totality of a double being.
Mm-hmm.
And you take one away, then this is the whole I give you you, you give me sort of verse that I hope we eventually find out who wrote that and why.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think that they were doing a slow but steady shifting the entire time between the two.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
And that point when they're on Kothar is the point where May flips.
Mm-hmm.
And even as she flips, so does Osha flip. And that, they seem to be implying that these two are just very closely intertwined. And I don't think that they could have killed May and had Osha survive as a whole being.
Right. Yeah, I do think that there's something to that. I don't know. Maybe they can't. There was a suggestion that they couldn't die apart. Maybe that's a thing.
I don't know. The other thing is, I really am looking forward to the day when we can have witches who are nature-based, not, dark, evil, scary, strange, bizarre. Right. I recognized all the sort of bases of.
There are force-based, nature-based force users.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Earlier
but I
in
think
this era.
of, Yoda's description of the force in the second of the three original films. So, life creates it.
Yeah.
And other than that one time, that's kind of been left by the wayside, and I sort of missed that.
So, Jean, do you have anything you want to shout out up top?
Yeah, all the action sequences, especially the first one with Chimera, when he decimated the Jedi squadron that came to help. that was incredible. The final fight scene sequence with him and Saul was also doubly incredible. I liked all of the wushu, callbacks that they made. It had me thinking of, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and how I felt watching that film in the movie theater. Just a lot of really good action sequences. But I think my favorite scene in the entire series was the final shot of Osha and Chimera, where they appear to be holding hands, but I think they're holding the lightsaber.
Right. Well, hands wrapped together around the lightsaber. Yeah.
Peering out over the horizon across the sea. I thought that was a beautiful shot. It really, to me, it encompassed what the series was really about, was people trying to find something to hold on to, no matter if it was perceived to be dark or not. Osha definitely trying to find herself away from her family and not knowing that she still had connections to the world. And Chimera just, for his own selfish reasons, whatever they may be, we don't know. Hopefully we find out a little bit more, trying to hold on to something, to grab hold onto something. Because for me, it felt like he was spinning out of control and wanted a way to get into control. And the Acolyte.
Like Osha's an anchor?
Yes. And searching for something to steady him and ground him. That's how I felt about that character, and that shot was just beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and that's true, and that really tracks with how he reached out to her as sort of like a grounding, hold me down. So one thing of note for any listeners who don't know, Marilyn and Jean, you two are on opposite ends of the Soul Patrol spectrum. So we're going to keep it light with there's only one rule in this game, and that is no Soul Brawl.
What?
No Soul Brawl.
That's fine with me.
No, I know you guys have all been reading also some background stuff. I was wondering, Marilyn, we're going to be talking about Sith stories. We won't get into them now, but has that given you any perspective on the Sith in this story?
Well, I mean, the ones that I've read have been interesting in basically presenting that same concept of, rule of tool. Rule of tool. Actually,
yeah, well,
that could also be part of it. If I think about it. The master and the apprentice, and eventually the apprentice is supposed to overcome the master, but the really, really intelligent and evil and powerful masters wind up tricking their apprentices and saying, "Ha, you thought you could rule me, but you can't." I'm still kind of trying to put this in the context of where do these stories come from? Why are they being told?
Right.
Are they considered to be legends or myths or fables?
Yeah.
There is a fair bit there to unpack. I don't think I connected them very much at all to this show because the presentation is different. The language is different. It's a lot. The stories are much flatter.
Right.
Because that's their intention. They're stories. They're not going to give you dimensionality. And there's certainly there's an amazing amount of dimensionality in this series, and that's part of why I like it.
Yeah, this is also for a much older audience. Like
exactly.
Exactly. Yeah. Now, John, you enjoyed The High Republic. I was wondering, what is your favorite Phase 2 book? Since
Path
that's
of
what we're
Deceit.
talking about. Okay, there we go.
I can answer quickly. You know why? Is that it is the best examination of how the Jedi are a cult that I've seen in the books.
Okay.
And that I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed that. And I really enjoyed the POVs that they gave. It's a YA book. It's technically a YA book. But the young adult books in this series really are mandatory reading. Like, you cannot skip them. They are essential to the story.
Well, you won't
and
meet
it sets up
Vanessa.
And it sets up a character named Marta, I'll just say, that I think that her journey, and I don't want to spoil the book, but her journey through cult thinking is absolutely fascinating and something I was not expecting to find.
Yeah, she's not a Jedi, by the way, for anyone who doesn't know.
Not a Jedi.
I do spoil her story in the High Republic overview. So if you've heard that, then she's the path of the open hand is her thing.
Yeah, and I just they're kind of an anti-use of the Force cult. They think that the Force should never be used either for good or evil. Don't manipulate the Force, because they think like, oh, if you use the Force, if you bend the Force to your will, something bad will happen somewhere else because the Force will need to seek balance. And they but they're really
which is
violent about it,
very
you know?
interesting with it, like this pulling a thread idea too. Because when you pull a
Yeah.
thread, it pulls on something else too, right?
Right. And so Marta has to deal with the implication of that, and whether she can befriend a Jedi, whether she thinks they're evil, etc. And I just think that it's incredible writing. Everyone should go read it.
Yeah.
By the by, that pulling on the thread, that was one thing I really liked about the depiction of the witches, because witches are often associated with weaving.
Right. Yeah.
And weaving the threads and, forming the pattern through introducing new threads and so on. So I appreciated that particular use of language and imagery for those particular witches. But yeah, I'm really interested in seeing Force users that are neither Sith nor Jedi.
Yeah.
And how do they do that? And are they more natural? There was one episode, I've watched too many recently, of an animated series in which we do see a group of those such people who live on the mountaintop, and they're peaceful, and that doesn't mean
This
that they
was
can't
Tales of
protect
the
themselves.
Empire.
Thank you. Yes.
Right. Yes. Yeah. The Mountain Clan.
I really liked that a lot, and would love to see more of that.
Yeah. I mean, so the Mountain Clan is from Legends, and there are more clans on Dathomir and Legends, but one of the interesting things about the witches in the Acolyte is that, as far as we know, they're not from Dathomir.
Right.
So that puts them in a whole new ballpark from, yeah, I think that's interesting. So,
Yeah.
Jean, you said you were getting some new context in the Acolyte out of the High Republic comics.
Oh, yes, I did. It's just further confirmation of what I've always felt for the last 30 years. The Jedi stink. That's where I'm at with it. It was everything that I have ever said, and now I have proof. I have proof positive that my thinking is the right way to think. Yes, I'm
more
so happy.
Complex than that.
I'm so happy. You have to say that. Of course, I know you have to say it's more complex.
I mean, we have to see.
I know.
We have to see stories as complex.
Yes, they are complex, but at the core, at its core, yes, the Jedi. They are horrible. So
tell me, John.
Let me just say, I enjoyed the comics. In all seriousness, it showed a different way that they showed. I should say, because I read a few of them. A different way, a different meaning, and showed a lot of the things that were happening in the Acolyte that I had no idea about.
Like you read the Barash Vow one already, right?
Yes, with Master Barnabas Vim. What a great name, right? Like it's awesome. I want to see more stories with Barnabas. But yeah, just it was really, the stories themselves did what I've been asking for from the Star Wars universe, which is to show what you're saying, the complexity of the story. Right? It's not just Sith and Jedi, dark or light. It's a lot of gray and a lot of colors that we don't even know about. Right? And I think that was a really cool thing to have on page. So yeah, I really enjoyed the comics.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you found what you were looking for, Jean.
Confirmation bias.
Oh, I was not going to say it, but you did.
I can
Bravo,
admit it.
mon ami.
I can admit it.
Bravo.
Well, so now that the spoiler ban has been lifted, are there any spoilery observations anyone wants to get off their chest?
In regards to what?
In regards to the Acolyte season, like that it makes you think about Palpatine or Anakin or anything you want.
Oh, I see. Well, I this is actually more looking towards the future, but I really want to see how Yoda fits into all of this, because as I understand it, there's a number of different stories where they show him confronting his pride and his hubris and so forth. And, to have him appear at the very end there is like, okay, so he's not here.
Right.
But where has he been all along? Is he just back from a trip to the universe? You know what? There's lots of questions there, and I know nothing about Vernestra, so I need to.
Yeah.
I'll be interested to see more about her, and how she's doing.
Even people who read the books, there's a 100-year gap where we don't know what anyone was up to.
And some of these people are definitely over 100 years old.
Right. Vernestra and Yoda.
And I still think there's whole chapters of Soul's story that we haven't seen or heard yet.
Yeah, I hope they fill it in. We're getting a Kelnaka comic. I'm excited for that.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Well, I'm hoping for it in the series itself for all the folks out there, myself included, who don't manage to get into the comic material.
And anyone else, any spoilery thoughts you want to get off your chest up on the top?
Have you ever heard
the story, the tragedy?
All right. I won't do it.
You didn't even do it in the voice.
Yeah, I need the voice. You need the voice.
Tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise.
There we go. Misa curious. No. So are we all on team #renew the Acolyte, I assume?
Heck yeah.
Yes.
Nah.
All right, John's booted. The rest of us get started.
Yep. You lost John. That's it. All right.
All right. Let's the games begin. Round 1. All right, here's how it's going to work. In round 1, I will present everyone with 10, I'm using air quotes, different awards categories, most with 4 nominees each. None of you have any prior knowledge of the awards categories or nominees except me because I made them up. For each award, I will give you 4 options, but for most awards, I will give you 4 options, but feel free to choose an option that's not on the list. The nominees are merely suggestions in this game of Acolyte-coded nonsense. Just tell us in a sentence or 2 why you picked your pick, and a winner, or possibly more than one winner, will be crowned for each category, and that winner shall go down in the Lorehounds Hall of Fame, or infamy, as the case may be. In a round 2 twist, David will be revealing his picks. So as you go through choosing your own selections for each question, I want you to also predict which you think David will pick.
Oh my. This is getting complicated, huh, John?
Oh, boy.
Whoever gets the most right wins an extra bite.
Maybe Jean and I should be on a team together.
I mean, you're asking us to go into the mind.
Have I spent too many hours with David?
Yes, you're asking us to go into the mind of David. Oh my gosh.
We're going to find out who is the real David Whisperer.
I feel like I've seen the mind of David.
Yeah.
Already, you know what I mean? Like I don't know.
Right.
I feel like, yeah.
Talking a big game here.
But if I lose now I gotta be embarrassed.
Well, I mean, we'll see. We're all chaos incarnate, so
I'm quite sure that I'm not going to win. So
he could pick something completely out of character to be a contrarian, and that would also be very.
That would also be.
I
David,
did explain that we were doing this, so so you have to think. You have to think about all angles.
This is very Princess Bride.
Yes, I was just thinking of that exact same scene. I was like, "You're Sicilian."
But wait, he knew we would be picking, so he would not pick this one.
All right. The first one is the one that breaks the rule. For question number 1, I'm asking you to each pick your top 3 characters and predict David's, and I'm giving you a list of 16. And
crikey, Moses!
Yeah, to choose from, but you can also choose off the list. So just your 3 favorite characters and who you think David will pick. The choices are Osha May, I'm counting them as 1, Sol, Kymir, Mother Anasea, Coral, Jeki, Yord, Indara, Kelnaka, Torben, Vernestra, Basil, Senator Rayencourt, Sejwa Chiwant, Nuna Legs and Spice Creams, or Yoda.
Okay. All right.
I have to do the same, actually. All right. Who's ready, John?
Oh, come on.
Oh my God.
I haven't even read to the bottom of the list yet.
All right, fine. I will save us all. All right. I would say Soul, easy peasy for me.
Okay.
These are my picks. David, I still can't
picks.
pick. I still cannot figure out what mind games he's playing with me. He's in my head. Soul, Chimere, because they're two halves of a very interesting equation. And Indara, because you know what? I want more Matrix characters in Star Wars.
There you go.
There you go. Fair. All right. And your David picks?
Okay. All right. I'm just gonna do it.
Yeah, just wing
Basil,
it. Just wing it. Okay.
Vernestra. And Jackie. No, that's a you pick. I'm not doing Jackie. Run it back. Kelnaka.
Okay.
I'm gonna lose this one. I know it. I talked too big a game, and now I'm going down.
May I ask a clarifying question?
Sure.
How new is David to the Star Wars universe?
He's not new.
He's not new. No. Okay,
but he's not new. He just hates reusing sound effects.
There is that. I do know that about him, but I mean, he's not at the level of Jean and Elysia. But
he surpasses me.
He's not a newbie either. So okay,
he's medium, I guess. All right, I've got mine. I'll go next. So for me, I'm gonna pick Chimere, Jackie, and Oshame. And for David, I'm choosing Soul, Indara, and Anastasia.
Okay. I should have picked Anastasia. That was right. That was right. I know it now.
Do you want to substitute Anastasia for one?
No. Okay. I gave my answers, and that's that.
Okay. Jean, are you ready?
Yeah. So my top 3 would be Anastasia, Chimere,
okay,
and Senator Rayencourt.
I thought you might like him.
Ooh. You are sticking to your guns, my friend. You are. Totally
I didn't know you were such a fan of bureaucracy, John.
I'm a wonderful civil servant.
Isn't it amazing how bureaucracy suddenly becomes your friend when
this is John, can I ask you, in Civil War, who did you side with?
Cap. Cap.
Yeah.
Okay, because right now you're siding with Iron Man.
Yeah, I know who I'm siding with, but I know who he's siding against.
All right. And what are your picks for David?
For David, Anastasia, Jackie, and Indara.
Okay. And Marilyn, what are your picks for yourself?
My top 3 are Oshame, Soul, and Mother Anastasia.
Okay. And for David?
For David, I'm picking Nuna Legs, Kelnaka, and Indara. I think Nuna Legs would appeal to David.
I mean, I was looking at those. I was like, these look pretty fucking good. Like, I don't know.
They certainly appeal to Soul.
Well, it's not the Nuna Legs, it's the spice creams that go along with them.
Right, yeah.
Let's be honest.
I'm going over Kalnakas for dinner. Go ahead.
Well, it's like what is it? The doctor from Doctor Who has fish fingers and custard. Fingers. Yeah. Soul's version will be Nuna Legs dipped in spice cream.
I'm into it. Yeah. He's got good taste. You can't deny that Soul has good taste.
Mm-hmm. So, surprising no one, the winner for the first question is Chimere, our Dark Prince.
Yeah.
Solid guy.
Yeah.
So what were David's 3 picks?
Oh, we're going to find out at the end.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
At the end. This is crazy talk.
He doesn't, his picks don't count toward the winning of the category, but they count toward other things.
Oh.
Well, like the David Whisperer Award.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't know. That sounds a little dicey to me. Let's call it something else.
No. What can I do? Okay, so for questions 2 and 3, it's kind of a two-parter, and I arbitrarily divided the 8 episodes into the top 4 and the bottom 4. You may or may not agree with me. I don't necessarily agree with this list per se. It's just what the vibe I got from the community. Like any question, feel free to choose something that's not on the list I present you. So, question number 2. Which was your favorite episode this season? And the 4 I am presenting as the nominees are Episode 3, Destiny, the first flashback to the Witches of Brendock. Episode 5, Night, the Predator episode. Episode 6, Teach, Corrupt, which was the Oceanmere episode and the Light Whip. Episode 8, The Acolyte, the finale. Jean, do you have a pick?
Yeah, this is tough. So I'm gonna go with B, episode 5, Night.
Okay. And what's your pick for David?
Wow. I'm gonna go with episode 6.
C. Okay. So why Night for you?
I thought everything about it was so well done. Like it was everything that the build up, the momentum, it just felt like edge of my seat. Right. Yeah. And I don't often get that in Star Wars, that type of feeling. And I got that feeling watching that episode. So I want to, celebrate that, because I think it's something for me that is new to the universe for me. Other people may have different feelings about different, scenes that brought them and say, but there's only one other scene that I can think of, one other moment in Star Wars that I felt the way that I felt during that episode. And that was, when Darth Vader went bananas
in Rogue One.
So I really appreciated it for that reason, because it kept me on the edge of my seat.
Yeah. Okay. And what about you, John?
Well, all of that was wrong. I'm just kidding. I could not pick Night, and I'll tell you why. I would have picked Night if it were paired with Day. Okay. Unfortunately, they gave me 2 half episodes that would have been a masterpiece of a full episode.
Fair enough.
Therefore, I pick what's the name of it? Destiny, the first flashback to the Witches of Brendock. I thought it expanded the world of it expanded the galaxy in a way that I haven't seen in a while, and that's exciting to me. I want more of that in Star Wars. Good job, Leslie Headland.
And what's your David pick?
I'm gonna say he probably hated the Power of Many part.
Oh.
So I'm gonna say I think he's gonna be with Jean. I think he's gonna be on the Night. I'm picking Night for David.
Okay.
Or is that what he wants me to think? No, I'm going to episode 6, Teach, Corrupt.
Yes. Okay. All right. See, it is. Marilyn,
never
what about you?
Go up against a Sicilian.
When death is on the line. Fortunately, death is not on the line, and there are no Sicilians in this crowd, as far as I'm aware.
How do you know?
Well, that's what I said, as far as I'm aware.
What's your pick, Marilyn?
I'm really going to startle myself exceedingly by saying that my favorite episode is number 8.
Okay.
The finale.
Okay.
Because I came away from it so disturbed.
Mm-hmm.
But over the course of however long it's been since it dropped, the depth and the richness and it may just be the satisfaction of the number of threads that were wrapped up, even though there are still plenty that are waving in the breeze, which is why, yes, hashtag season 2 is very important.
Renew the Acolyte.
Yeah. So, that's what I came up with.
And what's your David pick?
I think his is number 5, Night.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'm picking Night. And for David, I'm going to pick Destiny, the third one, just because that was the one that prompted him to want to jump on the podcast and talk.
Oh,
That's my answer now. I'm just kidding.
Good memory. Good memory.
Okay, so on the other side of that coin, because it's appropriate for the show, least favorite episode. So that leaves episode 1, Lost Found, the pilot. Episode 2, Revenge, Justice, the prison ship and the apothecary. Episode 4, Day, Kalnaka's death and the Chimera cliffhanger. Episode 7, Choice, the second flashback. And just to be clear, like, it's only, I personally love all these episodes too. It's just to divide it in two. I mean, I didn't have to, but it felt like the thing to do. Jean, let's start with you. Do you have
Episode
a
2.
least favorite? Okay.
Revenge Justice.
And what's your David pick?
Episode 2, Revenge Justice.
Okay. What about you, Marilyn?
Well, Jean and I are as one on this one. My
Okay.
least favorite was also number 2, Revenge Justice.
Okay.
I think it was just because after such a banger beginning, I thought it was not enough material spread too thinly somehow.
Okay.
If I remember correctly. And I'm just wild guessing with David. I'm saying his least favorite was episode 7, the second flashback. I have a vague notion that at some point he said something about I'm getting tired of flashbacks, but
Right. Okay.
I may be completely off on that.
Okay. I'm going to choose episode 4 for myself. C, just because I feel like the least happens there. Even though I loved it, it's more of a setup episode. And for David, I'm going to choose. I think the second one for him as well, just because it's another quieter point. What about you, John? What are your picks?
You said I can go off menu, right?
Right.
I can go off menu. I'm gonna say the finale, the Acolyte.
Is your least favorite?
I thought that the writing took a dip that episode that I hadn't seen before that. There were parts of it that did not make sense to me. And
I do remember that now.
And I thought that it was perhaps the best lightsaber battle I've ever seen choreographed in Star Wars. For me, writing's top tier the whole season and drops there, and I always value writing above all when we're talking about stories here. So that's gonna be my least favorite. For David, I'm actually gonna pick episode 1 because he had messaged me right after he watched it saying, "I'm so glad you guys are covering this without me."
That's right. That's right.
Okay.
See, inside information.
You guys have inside
I'm
information
outing him.
here. No,
but then he ended up liking it. Listen, guys, don't at David. I'm not trying to call him out too much, but I did have inside information on that one. I will admit it.
So, Elysia, I just wanted to check one thing with you. From something you said, I got confused. But so my least favorite was number 2, and I thought that David's least favorite was number 7. Is that what you have written down?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Okay. So the winner of the favorite episode is episode 5, Night, the Predator episode. And the loser of the least favorite episode is episode 2, Revenge Justice, the prison ship and apothecary, which I actually quite liked, but okay. All right. One more before we take a break. Coolest lore nugget. So these are all things that I'm naming that are not new to the lore, but they're new to most people. But you can also shout out anything else. So the 4 options I'm presenting are the Barash Vow, Cortosis, Virginces, Bleeding Kyber Crystals. John, what's your pick?
Bleeding Kyber Crystals. 100%. Best thing that they changed from Legends into canon, in my opinion. Very cool the way that they had the Kyber Crystal get exposed. And Osha's touching it, and she's getting angrier, and it's just like the crystal is just bending with her. Amazing visual. The first time we've seen it in live action, as far as I know. And they did an insanely good job. I'm so happy with it.
Cool. And David pick?
Ooh. I kind of think Cortosis.
Okay.
I think Cortosis. I think he's going to like that. The choreography. It was a new... I mean, I liked it too. That would have been my second pick.
Yeah.
You've got that really interesting in and out with the lightsabers where people are being surprised. It's like it just felt fresh for a lightsaber battle, and I think he would have appreciated that visual.
Okay. Yeah,
I'm talking about him like he's dead. He would have appreciated that.
He would have appreciated. He would have loved it. Hope he gets to see it up there in England,
in the cosmic force.
So yeah, I'm gonna pick Cortosis for myself, which is narrowly eking over kyber crystals, and I think it's just because I've never seen Cortosis in live action, or I haven't seen the bleeding kyber crystals in live action, but I just know a lot more about it, and Cortosis is such a rare treat, and it was so cool to see it used in that inventive way with like the headbutting the lightsabers and stuff. I'm going to choose Virgences for David. I don't know. I think something generative about it he might like. What about you, Marilyn? What's your picks?
Well, my favorite lore nugget is Virgences. It
makes sense.
It's far less technical and far more organic, cosmic, whatever you want to call it. There's just so much possibility there. I think David would also say that the kyber crystals were the nugget.
Okay. And Jean, what are your picks?
The Barrage Vow.
Okay.
For me.
Interesting.
And I'm also picking that for David.
Okay. Huh. Okay.
Well, I hope you all enjoy sitting in our room quietly together. Is that what you two do when you hang out?
Can we take a minute? I want to hear why Jean likes that one so much.
Yeah.
I sit quietly 20 minutes every day, but I want to know why that's cool for you, Jean.
I just, it made me want to know why this extremely powerful Jedi chose to go into seclusion, basically, in front of everyone. It wasn't like he was hiding. Right? He wasn't in a cave somewhere. He was clearly out in the open. Everybody knew he was there. Everybody knew that he had taken this vow, and it made me want to know why, and how does that? What is the reason behind this, and also how does he maintain this incredible connection to the Force within the vow? Is it the vow itself that's allowing him to tap into something that he ordinarily wouldn't be able to? So yeah, it had a lot of questions for me, and yeah, I really appreciated that.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Very cool. Thank you.
And you know what else is cool? That means that it's a 4-way tie.
Oh.
I missed that sound since the Silo wrap up. I've needed it since. I've craved it. It scratches my brain in all the right ways.
All right. Well, that's a great note to pause on. We'll be right back after the break with the rest of the game. Okay, and we're jumping back in with question number 5, and that is, what is your favorite new planet? And so the options are Ueda, which is where the fight with Indara was, or Olega, where Torben's death is. And yes, I'm combining them to give these two a fighting chance. Option B is Brendok.
So to speak.
Yeah. Option B is Brendok, where the witches came from. Kofar, the jungle planet of Kalnaka, or the unknown planet where Chimere's hangout is. Let's just call it Baldemic. John, what's your pick?
I can't decide this. This is so hard.
Yeah, it is a hard one.
I guess, you know what, Brendok, because the way that the poison tree looked, the way that there were like weird butterflies, the virgins, all the coolest stuff. Definitely not Ueda or Olega. Those were just Tatooine.
Even like, combined together, you're like, nah.
No. Look, I've seen that before. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like I've seen that before in Star Wars. Make the galaxy bigger. We don't need another fucking desert planet.
I didn't think that they were deserts. I didn't think they were desert. Like we had the
I thought
whole Art
Ueda
Deco
was.
thing on Olega. Yeah, Ueda
I don't
was
need
like
another barrio. I don't need another
yeah.
desert. I need something new. I want the witchy planet. Give it to me fresh.
Okay. What's your
raw
favorite
and wriggling? Or should I say, raw and wriggling?
My precious.
What's your David pick?
Kofar.
Kofar.
I
Okay.
think he'd like Kofar. I think he's gonna like those giant bugs chasing people. I think that's good stuff.
Okay.
I don't know, and I feel like David is a Wookiee fan. I don't know. There's something there. There's something there that needs to be explored further in therapy, perhaps.
In therapy. In your therapy of your beliefs in David's Wookiee fandom. Marilyn, what's your pick?
Well, my favorite new planet is also Brendock.
Okay.
And John, you got me worried because I kept for David's. I keep coming back to Kofar. But I'm gonna go out on a limb and say Khmer's hideout.
Oh.
Okay.
Wrong.
Okay.
I'm sure you're correct, John. No, I'm sure you're correct.
I'm just kidding. I bet you I got every single one of these wrong for David. I just know. I should
have made a sound effect for that. Jean, what are your picks?
Kofar is my favorite, and Ueda is David's.
Okay.
Interesting. Maybe I heard you thinking about that's why I thought it was for David. I'll hope that's the case.
Yes.
I'm so tired of sand in my shoes. All right, go on.
So I am also going with Brendock. So that makes Brendock the winner for this round.
Hello. I mean, come on. This is where all the action happens.
Okay. And that brings us to number 6, where let's set a somber tone for just a moment. We're going to talk about what are the saddest deaths. And since there are so many freaking deaths in this show, I have grouped them. So your options are, and of course you can always choose off menu. Option A, Mother Anastasia and Sol. Option B, Jeki and Yord. Option C, Indara, Kelnaka, and Torben. Or option D, Pip's memory banks and original body. And now I wish, John, that I still had In the Arms of the Angel.
Oh gosh.
I just Googled it.
Oh no.
It was in the soundbar when I loaded up the stuff. All right, John, what's your pick?
Me? I feel like I've been going first a lot.
Okay, so we'll skip you next time.
I mean, we could. It's fine. It's fine. I'm happy to take it all. My favorite. My saddest death, I should say. Mm-hmm. My favorite death. Die. I'm gonna say Jeki and Yord because there was so much lost potential there, and they didn't deserve that, right? You know, Yord was annoying. That doesn't qualify him for early death. Jeki had a lot of potential. It seemed like she was a really, really promising Padawan who really knew how to harness the teachings of Soul. Right. So that was the saddest for me. Okay. As far as David, I'm gonna say Pip. I think he's a droid lover.
Yeah. All right.
I think he's the opposite of Din Djarin.
And Jean, what are your picks?
I'm going to go with B, Jeki and Yord.
Okay.
I felt bad. I still feel bad that I, sullied Yord's name the way that I did. He didn't deserve it. If I could apologize to him, I would.
You could tweet at the actor.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that's a good idea because I really savaged him. He was high on my list. He was like number 2 on my list.
Be like, I know you haven't seen any of the slander I threw your way, but sorry.
But I'm sorry for it. And
many who live deserve death, and some who die deserve life.
Yeah. Yes. And I'm gonna go for David. I'm gonna go with C, Dara, Colette, and Corbin.
Okay. And Marilyn, what about you?
Well, it's a trifecta for sudden death. Jackie and Yord.
Okay.
What everybody has said. They were too young. They didn't have enough chance for their incredibly great gifts. And
only the good die young.
And
Sorry,
I really hated opening the next episode with Jackie's dead body and open eyes staring at us. That was just.
But that was also, I think there was also a point in doing that and letting us know when Coral disappears later, like no body, no death.
Well, whatever. They could have done it with somebody else's body. That's all.
Yeah, the internet has really broken the discourse around death and.
I mean, but it is, it's a storytelling trope for a reason, because also we watch a lot of stuff where people come back from near death a lot, including in Star Wars.
Yeah, but if anybody crawls out from under a dumpster in this universe, there's going to be blood on the moon.
I mean, how about out of a sewer with spider legs, since we're doing full spoilers mall. Okay.
And my David guess also matches John, which is Pip.
Okay. All right. So I am also choosing Jackie and Yord, and that means
Super Ultra winner.
Jackie and Yord.
I like it.
Officially the unanimous saddest death. For David, I think I'm going to go with Anastasia and Soul.
All right.
Interesting.
Yeah. All right. Number 7. This is the other downer. Let's get it out of the way. People can't tell us we're not fair and balanced. What is your biggest complaint of this season? So the 4 options on the table are A, the format, whatever having to do with it's too short or not enough episodes or cliffhangers or episodes in the wrong order, the format. B, cereal bowl fare. C, too dark and pessimistic. D, not enough light whip. And I'm going to open this one up by just saying I am definitely a not enough light whip girl. But I'm going to go cereal.
No comment.
Well, actually, why don't you comment? You're next, Marilyn. What do you pick?
Well, do I get another alternative?
Yeah, you can pick whatever you want.
Because the closest would be too dark pessimistic.
Yeah. No, you can say something else. Yeah.
This is my cognitive bias speaking, I think. But throughout, whenever we were getting all of these different peoples and the things they were doing and so forth, I just felt like we weren't being given enough context.
Okay.
Maybe some of it was because I didn't know backstories and I didn't know the lore well enough, but they were not able to spend time examining in greater depth why people made the choices they were making.
Okay.
I guess is the best way I can put it, but I don't know. Maybe that's going to be season 2. We'll find out.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I guess, it is. I know she conceptualized it as a multi-season show. So I do wonder how much of season 2 is already fleshed out.
And I'm going to guess that David's biggest complaint was the cereal bowl fare.
Okay.
I think he did raise that once or twice, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. All right. Jean, what about you?
I would go with A, format. I think the episodes were too short.
Okay.
That's for me. And for David, this is a tough one. I'm going to say episodes in the wrong order.
Okay. So format also. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, now that you say that, Jean, I think you're right. I think that would be David's choice.
What about you, John?
I don't think I even need to say it. I feel like I was very loud about my complaint about format the whole season.
Okay. Yep. There we go.
That I'm not going to elaborate on it. Everyone knows my thoughts. David, cereal bowl fare. I think. I think he's just. Although he did defend the use of the cereal bowl, so
he did.
Yeah.
The cereal bowl can be a path to many abilities. Some consider it natural. I'm still
okay. Darth John. All right, that makes it official. The winner or loser of the biggest complaint of the season is the format, which I should have a not shocked Pikachu sound effect. All right, episode 8. Is this going to be unanimous? Or are we all going different directions? Best fight. We're going to start with you, Jean.
I'm not ready.
May.
I'm not ready. I'm not ready.
All right. We're going to start with you, Marilyn. A, May versus Indara. B, Jackie and Soul versus Chimere. C, Kalnaka versus everyone. Or D, Soul versus Chimere in the finale.
Well, I think it has to be D. Because each of the ones you chose include pieces that all seem to be present in that final. And the summation of it and the climax and everything else. And I think David would say the same thing, but maybe I flatter myself.
Okay. And what about, are you ready, Jean?
Yes. I am going to say, for me, my favorite fight it's tough. I'm choosing between May Indara and Saw Chimere. And I'm gonna go with May Indara. Because it set the tempo for the entire series.
Yeah, that really tempted me too, Jean.
And also it was a badass fight scene. As well as the story being laid out before us. So I'm gonna go with that for myself, and I'm gonna go C for John.
Okay, Kalnaka.
Versus everyone.
Okay. All right, John, what about you?
No.
Oh, what?
No,
You
I'm
changed
gonna
your
go
mind?
D for David.
For David?
D for David. I'm sorry.
Saul
D
and
for
Chimere?
David.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. John, what about you?
Okay, for me, absolutely not one. Number 2 was very good. I even made a whole TikTok on it because of the I need a hero meme. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna go with that. I really enjoyed the way. See, this is the thing. This is why I thought that it would be a really amazing episode if it was 2 together, because this was one of the best fights I've seen in Star Wars. The cortosis knocking the lightsabers out, Jackie coming out with her second lightsaber finally turning on and just smirking at Chimere. Excellent. The triple stab. That was it was brutal, but it was cool. I just think coolest fight.
Okay.
As far as David, that's a little tougher. It just is. I think he's gonna say Soul and Chimere.
Okay. I am actually going to agree with you on the Jackie versus Soul. So, and I also am predicting Soul and Chimere for David. So that means that Jackie and Soul versus Chimere wins. All right. Number 9, merch you're buying immediately. A, Pip. B.
That's it. That's the one.
That's the one. All right, John's picked his. B, a Basil plushie. C, a color bleeding lightsaber. D, a stick-on spiral tattoo. Okay, so that you picked yours, John. What's your David pick?
I didn't even listen to the other options because I had mine picked from the beginning. Hold on here. Merch you're buying. The color bleeding lightsaber is pretty cool. Yeah, I think Pip too. I think David's a droid lover and a Wookiee lover.
All right.
He'd sooner kiss a Wookiee.
Oh my gosh.
It can be
Than a droid? Yeah.
I'm just quoting the original trilogy,
Of course you are. You think I don't know that?
Marilyn, what are your picks?
Well, if I were into spirals, I would get a spiral tattoo. I'm not in. I mean, if I were into tattoos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a stick-on. It's not permanent.
I understand, but even stick-ons.
Okay.
I would get a Basil plushie and give it to my great niece and nephew. Because my great nephew is really into hedgehogs and close relation.
Close enough, yeah.
And I agree with John. I think that David would choose a Pip.
Okay, Jean, what do you think?
Since he can't choose a Wookiee plushie.
Right.
I'm going to go with
he can if he
whichever one little E, which is my 8-year-old wants.
Uh-huh.
That's the merch I'm buying immediately. Whichever one he picks.
And what do you think it's going to be?
And I think he's going to pick Pip.
Okay.
I think he'll pick a Pip. And
Good.
for David, I think he
Parenting,
would do the color bleeding lightsaber.
Okay. Okay. I picked for myself the stick-on spiral tattoo.
Of course. Hello.
Although, yeah, it's almost a tie with Pip, which doesn't matter either way because Pip wins. But I'm picking Pip for David. All right, Pip is the official winner of this category.
Woohoo!
Number 10, the last official question. Most exciting season 2 story they've set up. So we've got A, Plagueis, B, Oshimir, C, Vernestra, May, and Chimere, D, Senate versus Jedi. John, what's your pick?
Oh, you got to do that to me? All right. All right. I'll do it. Sorry, the producer's reference, if anybody has ever seen that movie. I don't think Plagueis is going to be a storyline, so I'm going to skip that one.
Okay.
I think it's going to be, at most, some more nods. I think, I just want to see what's going on with the main plot here. Vernestra, May, Chimere. I think that is going to be the most. Although I guess you could argue Oshimir is the main plot, but I think Vernestra, May, and Chimere will have more mysteries to open up. I think you posited something in our last podcast together that was like perhaps the fallout between Vernestra and Chimere, or whatever Chimere's real name was, will be a central mystery next season, and I could see that. Yeah. That would be very good.
Yeah, there's a good mystery there. Okay.
I don't think David gives a single fuck about Plagueis, so I'm going to skip that one for him too. I'm spicy tonight. Sorry. And
very.
I think he would just buy 1,000 Pip plushies before he
Pip's not an option.
Devoted another. I'm just saying.
Well, I mean, you can
another.
Actually, it can be. You can choose off the menu.
No. I know he didn't pick Pip. Was he restricted to the options? Wait a minute. Did he just pick a non-menu item every time to fuck with us?
Just you personally.
Okay. I'm gonna pick Oshimir. I think he likes a good dark sider.
Okay. All right. And Jean?
Oshimir for me.
Okay.
And I think Vernestra, May, and Chimere for David.
Okay. What about you, Marilyn?
Well, I was going to go for just Vernestra and May, but from what people have been saying, I think Chimere has to come into it because he comes into Vernestra's story.
Mm-hmm.
So Vernestra, May, and Chimere. And I think David is going to pick Senate versus Jedi.
Okay. All right. That means for us, it's a 2-way tie. So the stories we are most excited about are Oshimir and Vernestra, May, and Chimere. So well, Chimere twice again. Chimere wins again.
Yeah.
Well, you put him in twice. Come on.
He deserves it. He
double the
chances,
it, baby
girl.
Oh, yeah. I'll tell you what he deserves. But he's not going to get it.
Well, yeah. We'll see how his story ends. All right. Well, I can tell you it's not going to be as plaguey as his long-term apprentice. So, one additional bonus question. Surprise! What is the spoiler that you've been most dying to talk about or hear about on the podcast all season? And the 4 I put on here are Anakin's Force conception and or fall, Palpatine's story arc, Reylo, any excuse to talk about Kanan from Rebels. John,
where did that one come from?
That's
I mean, blind John, Jedi with the Force deprivation mask. I see where you're going with it.
Twice. I had to bleep you for bringing him up, so that's where I came from.
Well, I do love Kanan. He's a really good character.
He is.
And my
That's
guy,
right. It's David who doesn't like him.
He's meeting these fancy forest crabs just popping out of the ground in Tarantula Land. And I just love the guy. I think he's great. He's like, I can't see and I feel weaker than I have ever felt in my life. So I'm going to go outside the boundaries of my safe camp and go into tarantula territory, where I will find a giant forest crab who will teach me how to see using my feelings.
It's called
amazing.
Bendu.
Really amazing stuff there.
He's the center of the force. He's the balance.
And my God, his sacrifice might be the most meaningful sacrifice I've seen.
He has one of the best story arcs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because he starts out
so
and David started watching Rebels, and this motherfucker, he comes over here and he starts slandering Kanan.
Yeah.
He certainly does. He doesn't like that ponytail.
He doesn't like the ponytail. And I'm like, you dare slander one of the most selfless Jedi that ever existed.
That we've ever
Yes.
met. God.
Yes, Jean, anytime you want to talk trash about Jedi, I will hold Kanan up to you. So.
I know.
I love Kanan. I love Kanan.
Oh,
but
good.
he's like not really,
but he's not a
really
Jedi.
because the Order 66 happened when he was a kid.
Yes.
When he was
He's not a Jedi.
I think that's specious argument.
No, it's not. He's not a Jedi.
No, I mean it is a literalism, but I think
practices
that
the Jedi arts. Not a Jedi.
The Jedi are more than simply whether or not they went to an academy.
Right, it's true. It's an ideal. It's a way of being, and certainly, one of my favorite characters is also someone who's famous for saying, "I am no Jedi."
Absolutely,
and it's because she also was trained first there. That did shape her morality in a lot of ways.
Exactly.
Yeah, she's like, I am no Jedi, but I am going to enforce the insane no attachments rule on this little gremlin who just wants a dad.
We're talking about Ahsoka.
You know what?
If
Maybe
anyone
she was
know.
still young at that point, John.
She was not young at that point. She was
Yeah.
middle-aged in the middle of. Oh man, I get.
Well, from the perspective of almost 70, she still looked young.
I might fight Marilyn
tonight.
She
does. Wait. This is not about Soul, but
all right.
No Soul Brawl.
I do not brawl.
Okay,
not
so
my style.
John, are you choosing option D, Kanan, or
sure?
What's your choice? Yeah, sure.
John is gone.
What is your David pick? Last David pick.
What a day!
Mm-hmm.
What a day! Definitely not Kanan, because I think if he could, if he had a gun. If he had a blaster, David had a blaster and with two shots left, two bolts left, and he was in a room with Kanan, Palpatine, and Darth Vader, he'd shoot
Kanan is
twice.
out. Oh my god!
No!
Oh my gosh!
I think you do him wrong.
Oh,
to quote Star Wars, no.
I think he'd be a Palpatine guy with this.
Okay.
I think he'd be Palpatine.
All right. I went with Reylo for myself. I'm predictable. I know. Come on. It was so difficult not to talk about one of the only other dark side romances in Star Wars while talking about Oshimir.
But it's so bad though.
Oh, I disagree.
I know.
What did you say, Jean? It's so what?
It's so bad.
So bad.
Yeah.
The Reylo.
Yeah, the whole Reylo thing.
I mean, I think it ended the way that it was supposed to end. It wasn't supposed to be happily ever after. Maybe Oshimir has a better shot, but...
No, just the entire thing was terrible for me.
See, and I didn't have a proper chance to litigate this, but then, yeah, I'm definitely gonna, at some point, I'm gonna be able to talk at length about what does work about it and why I think people are looking at it the wrong way, like looking at it to be, I think it gives to her things that, like somebody brought up, I prefer Finn Rey, and I know, Jean, I know you're like, Finn just needs to get away from those Jedi, although he's force sensitive. But I think that like Finn is the guy that she deserves after she,
Oh no.
after she explores and gets over her dark side.
Oh no.
Finn also went through his dark side. He was a friggin' stormtrooper.
Finn
He didn't go through his dark side to get there.
Finn
He was forced into that position.
better than Rey.
Okay.
I don't know if Finn does, but John Boyega definitely does.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you, Elysia, there's this wonderful blog that's a part of the Lorehounds website. You could write a spectacular paper about the Reylo misunderstanding. But I gotta
I'll be
say,
interested to hear or read.
Hold out no hope for Oshamir, because I cannot see two Darksiders being together happily ever after.
Maybe
happily
they'll
ever
go
after,
out.
no, but
I can't see
in
them
lust,
pairing.
then yes.
Maybe they go out in a blaze of glory together.
I don't consider lust as a pairing. I consider it as, Well,
I'm just saying that not every pairing has to be, the
physical
great
rather than
love
emotional.
that you look up to,
Right.
Okay, but I'm definitely not choosing that for David. I'm choosing Anakin for David. What about you, Jean? What are your choices?
For me, it's Palpatine, and for David, it's Anakin.
Okay. And Marilyn, what about you?
Well, I'm mirroring John again. For me, it's Kanan, and for David, it's Palpatine.
All right, so that means Kanan wins.
My boy
He deserves it.
My boy.
Because he does the balance. He had, I can't remember the name of the creature who he found in the desert. Bendu.
Bendu.
I was close. Hey,
yeah, you were.
And then I learned about Kanan's restatement of the Jedi Creed, and I said, "There it is, right there. That's it."
Are there any categories that you think I should have asked about?
You do a perfect job, Elysia.
Yeah, no, I think that
always, of course.
I can't think of a single thing.
Okay.
That could have been included.
All right, well, round 2.
You didn't have a brown noser sound? I feel like that should have been there.
Round 2. All right, so we're going to find out what David actually chose for all of these different things.
I'm
and
into
we shall
it.
tally it up. All right, let's hear what he has to say.
Can't wait.
Question 1, top 3 characters. Chimere, Mother Anasea, Jeki.
I was wrong on all 3.
Number 2, favorite episode. Episode 3, Destiny, first flashback to the witches of Brendok. That was a cool-ass episode.
Wrong, man.
Question number 3, least favorite episode. Episode B, Episode 2, Revenge Justice, the prison ship and the apothecary. Question 4, coolest lore nugget. Answer D, bleeding kyber crystals. That was wicked cool. Question 5, favorite new planet? Answer D, the unknown planet, Chimere's hideout. I love all that ocean rock stuff. Question 6, saddest deaths. The saddest is definitely answer A, Mother Anasea and Sol, but I think the coolest were Jeki and Yord. Question number 7, biggest complaint of the season. Answer E, story structure. I know that this could be covered by answer A, format, but
I fucking knew it. This guy's going off menu.
It seemed more structural to me than formatting. Inconsistent and uneven. And question 8, best fight. Jeki and Sol versus Chimere. Answer B. Question 9, merch you're buying immediately. Answer is E, none of the above. There was no merch item that really jumped out at me from this season, sadly. Question 10, most exciting season 2 story. Answer C, minus May. I'm really interested in the Venestra Chimere storyline. Okay. Question 11, bonus. Spoiler you've both been dying to talk about. Answer A, Anakin's Force conception.
I'm going home.
Because you won?
This is where I play the music for the listeners and do a quick tally up. See how we did. I'm resuming. The listening music is stopping. I hope listeners enjoyed that brief time that was just as brief, me tallying it up. It was super amazing, right? All right.
Watch how her fingers never left her hand.
Editor Elysia checking in from the future to say I did not do a great job tallying up these scores during the podcast recording. Basically, the chart I drew myself to keep track of everyone's responses was a bit of a mess, and I fumbled the numbers a little bit. Luckily, that didn't actually change the outcome, so let's let past Elysia do her reveals, and then I'll check back in after with the real numbers. I wasn't that far off. So we're going to award, this is very solemn, the David Whisperer Award, okay? So we're going to count up to the person who guessed David's prediction most often. In fourth place, with 0 points, as he predicted, is John.
I knew it. I'm so proud. I'm going to wear this as a badge of honor. No one will ever accuse me of cheating on anything ever.
In third place with 1 point is Marilyn.
Oh. I got 2 right, though.
Oh, wait, you got 2 right. Oh,
I did
I
get
miss
2
one?
right.
Okay. I missed one. Then you have 2. Sorry. Still in third place. I have 4 in second, and that means the winner is Jean. Congratulations.
Very good, John.
Thank you very much.
Wait,
congratulations.
I know my David. I know my David.
What is your prize?
Well,
a heart in conflict with itself.
Congratulations. You are David Whisperer.
And you've also known him longer than any of the rest.
Yes,
That's true.
And there is also another award that was at stake here secretly.
Ooh.
I wanted to know who is actually David's Force twin. So this is the award to the person who had the most same answers as David. So in this case, tied for fourth place is both me and Jean with 4 points. In second place is Marilyn with 5 points.
Well, look at here.
And the winner is... Guess what, John? You won this one.
You guys are twinsies.
Well, you had to have some things in common to be such good podcasters.
That's pretty
together,
funny.
Right?
That's pretty funny.
Force twinsies. Hey, can we be a dyad?
Oh my
Special
God.
message.
You made him record that? That's pretty
Yes.
funny. David, it would be my honor.
That is fun.
Hey, future editor Elysia back. So, the results are basically what I said, but I got the points wrong. Marilyn already called out one mistake I made, which is, luckily she's keeping track of her own score. She did indeed get 2 David Whisperer points. I also gave myself 1 David Whisperer point too few, and Jean a couple David Whisperer points too many. So, actually, in the end, Jean and I tied for David Whisperer. Woo! I guess it's all that MCU talk. And yeah, on the Force Twin side, it actually turns out, so John still won with 5 points. And it turns out that Marilyn, Jean, and I tied for second, or fourth, however you want to put it, with 3 points each. And I made up a little color-coded chart of all these results, and I'm going to be posting it on our Discord. and on social media, and I'll put a link to that in the show note. Okay, back to the end of the episode. So, okay, there is actually... Wait, sorry, hold on.
There's another award.
Oh, there's one more. It's not one more. There's one more final fast round. Here we go. Round 3. Final round. Without thinking, throw out 3 predictions for season 2. What do you hope or expect to see? It can be big endgame stuff or something as silly as more Light Whip. Jean.
Palpatine. Midi-chlorians. And a kiss.
A kiss. Okay.
Okay,
I can tell you,
okay.
Palpatine won't come because he's not born, but the other 2.
I know. You said quick, fast. You said quick, fast.
I did say quick, fast. Okay, John, you quick, fast.
Okay. All right. Osha's gonna get an apprentice. Shmi Skywalker. The next thing. is going to be. We are gonna have Chimere milk some blue milk, and third thing is I think Osha's gonna make her own helmet.
Okay. All right. Marilyn?
I think Vernestra's going to confront Chimere. I think Osha and May are finally going to find out what it means to be one person in 2 forms. And I think that Pip and what's his name, the tracker, are going to become besties.
Oh, Basil. Yeah.
Basil. And whatever they do when they're by themselves is none of your business.
Okay. I think that we're going to find out that Coral, she shaves off all her horns and later becomes Mother Talzin. Not really. I think we're gonna get a mind swap between Osha and May, and we're gonna get Oshamir. It's going to be joint Ren founders until Chimere dies tragically, saving Osha and May after a botched merging ceremony. There we go.
Okay.
Do I believe any of that? Maybe not. Do you guys have any final thoughts on the Acolyte for today?
Well, it's an awfully rich mix to be producing so much discussion, reaction, contemplation. I mean, if you look at some of the things that were being talked about on our Discord, I think that was pretty special.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always good to look at a favorite universe from an entirely new perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. Well put. Any thoughts to add, or we let Marilyn speak eloquently for us all?
Here.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, guys.
No.
Well, we do have
really
some final
what it
thoughts
is.
from the community. There's just 3 final pieces of feedback. One of them is from you, Marilyn, so we'll have you read that. But,
A loyal writer in, I will say. Marilyn,
Yes.
if she's not on a podcast, she is quite loyal. She doesn't even watch the freaking show with House of the Dragon. And just writes in. It's great. I love it.
I mean, yeah, there's a lot of stuff to ponder.
It just depends on the podcast.
Yeah.
There are some podcasts you will not see me doing feedback.
You just share a lot of wisdom
Yeah.
with us, and I appreciate it.
Aw,
That
you're
is
very
awesome.
kind. I'm glad it is perceived by you as wisdom.
Valued member of every community. All right, John, do you want to read Tom's back?
I would absolutely like to do that. I'm in Michael Scott mode for some reason. I don't know why. All right. Tom Triangle Walks writes in and says, "Hi, Elysia and John." And hi to Marilyn and John, because they didn't know that we
Right.
were going to be here. Can't believe the season is over already. I mentally wrote in like 5 times and didn't actually manage it at all. Oops. I'm usually listening whilst driving around, so whatever I think of to respond, I forget by the time I'm home. Been there, Tom. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
I have an app for that I can just like speak a reminder into my phone and it emails it to me.
Nice.
I have to have a pen and paper at my side and pause frequently to jot down notes.
Nice.
I recommend the app Brain Toss if anyone's curious.
Just wanted to say I have been really impressed with the series overall. I wasn't really sure what the tone would be, but have really enjoyed it. I bounced off The Mandalorian and everything else except Andor, but have very much enjoyed this the most. And the background from the Star Wars Canon Timeline podcast definitely meant I got a lot more out of it.
Yeah.
Hear, hear.
That's great. Thank you. Thank you, Tom. I loved Marilyn's point in the last episode about Soul being like a social worker, a very interesting way to think about him that hadn't occurred to me, even though I work with social workers every day. Soul wanted to be the rescuing hero, and that meant he needed to rescue Osha and May, regardless of if they needed or wanted this, or if anyone else agreed.
Wow.
The one thing that I am left wondering, why was Kelnaka the one who was so vulnerable to the witch's influence? Apparently, Torben only needed like a day of focus to fortify his mind. So why was Kelnaka, a much more capable Jedi, unable to stop this? Not sure if we will ever know, as we didn't get much time to know the character.
We're getting that comic coming out in September, so hopefully we'll find out. I hope why he has the tattoos on the side of his head that are shaved like that. So I'm wondering. Yeah, there's definitely some past trauma.
We will make Jean fill us in.
Yes.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna read it, and then John and I will talk about
No, it has to be Jean. I won't weigh in on Spoilergate except to say, keep doing what you're doing. Have loved the coverage and looking forward to carrying on with the podcast. Tom, thank you very much. That's lovely, lovely sentiments.
Yeah. Jean, do you want to read this what Sub-Zero said?
Sure. Thanks for writing in, first of all. And they say, been thinking more about the May-Osha separation at the end. My headcanon is that Chimera would have killed May otherwise, hence why Osha had to bargain for May's life. Initially, I thought it was because Chimera saw May as a failed acolyte. While that is true, I think the real reason is because he needed to have Osha for to himself. If May and Osha stayed together, Chimera would always be third wheel. And eventually, the twins would band together and take Chimera down. I think he recognized the threat and needed to nip it in the bud. I maintain my critique that the reasoning for this forced separation was not clearly conveyed to the viewer. I was quite confused on first watch. Comments?
I agree with that. I agree with that. Yeah. Interesting notion of May and Osha banding together against him.
Yeah. I think that that is a good point. But I still think that there's something to it. Always seemed to me like he has more affection for May than it seemed. Like even he didn't want her to betray him, but when he went after her, it didn't seem wholeheartedly. And then he like would help her, like cut her bindings or something like that.
Yeah, like if Palpatine had been walking with Dooku and Dooku didn't know it was him, and Dooku's like, yeah, I'm thinking about betraying my master. Not even a discussion. Done.
Yeah, I think it was the betrayal more than anything else. The fact that she was ready to go back to the Jedi and tell them everything she knew.
You know, this email actually makes me think about something that I had wanted to talk about, spoiler-wise, that I totally blanked on, which was we have seen a Sith master go and take down a possible, apprentice of apprentice or a rogue Sith. When we see in the Clone Wars, Palpatine goes and hunts down Maul's brother.
Right.
Well, also he takes out Ventress was considered an acolyte.
Right.
And he sends Dooku to take out like her whole family, all her people.
Right. Yeah, I mean, definitely my point was just precedent for this, and I wonder if we'll see something similar with Plagueis.
Yeah.
Well, Palpatine seems to be something of a culmination of the whole Sith concept line.
He is the answer of the rule of two.
Right.
Yeah.
He's the chosen one on that side in a way, I suppose.
Well, maybe he emerged in time to balance out Anakin.
Well,
balancing of light and dark.
Yeah, in the end. Well, I guess in the end, like, if we're supposed to take Luke as being light, And so I guess that makes Luke is Ashla, and Palpatine, or Sidious, I don't know what we should call him at that point, is Bogan, the Dark. Then that means Anakin's Bendu, the balance.
Mm-hmm. Well, that was what Qui-Gon said.
What'd you say?
That was what Qui-Gon said, was that he is there to restore the balance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Between light and dark. Which, you know, whether or not the showrunners and scriptwriters decided to take that up is another matter altogether.
So our third email is from you, Marilyn. Do you want to read it for us and we can pause and discuss?
Oh, sure. Hello, Elysia and John and Jean and Marilyn. Your question on soul and betrayal really got me thinking a bit. It seems to me that soul, and then in open parenthesis, soul, S-O-U-L, he is probably the most soulful character of the series so far. It seems to me that soul is a mirror. What we see in his story depends on what we bring to it. Did Vernestra betray him? Or did she in fact honor him by doing what he would have wanted, continuing to protect the Jedi reputation as best they both could? Soul wanted the truth of the events on Brendok to come out to the Jedi. May Osha's creation, the Virgins, due uses of the Force by the Coven, a possible Sith in Chimere. He wanted both May and Osha to know what happened and why. He wanted to find resolution to his guilt. In the end, I think he got all of these things, and his heart was broken by the flipping of Osha. Mind you, my baseline belief is that suppressing truth rarely results in good outcomes. But I suppose that also depends on how long an arc you follow. Actions lead to consequences, lead to actions, lead to consequences. Who can say for sure whether or not blaming all on Soul was in fact the best choice to make? Thoughts?
Yeah, no, I think you bring up some good points, especially about what you said about Soul's story being a mirror, because he is the character on the show who perhaps more than anyone other than perhaps Osha May, if you count them as one, he reflects all sides, you know. He did one of the worst things in the show, arguably. I mean, not really worse than anybody else, I guess, but also he's the character that we immediately latched onto from the beginning. You know, he's the Qui-Gon, he's the good one, he's the light. Everyone except Sean, I guess.
Well, and I think we were directed to do that. And sometimes if you feel like you're being directed too firmly, then you just kind of kick back and push back anyway.
Yeah, I disagree with a lot of the Saul stuff, because I think, you know, I can't imagine being in a position where he's put in, right? He's this, you know, like enforcer of some sort of dogma. He's also, you know, trying to look out for the best of, you know, for everyone, right? Trying to be the best version of himself as well, trying to be a protector of, you know, persons, of people. But the failing of Saul is to not recognize his own hubris. Like, every time that he had a choice to make, he made the choice based on what he felt he needed. He needed to save Osha and May, not because they needed saving, but because he needed to do so. His calculus was that I'm watching something that is harmful, even though I don't know what it's about, and I have to step in. That leads to tragic outcomes far too many times. And this is another time that tragic outcomes were the result of someone trying to be the best version of themselves without really understanding what that means. I didn't see any glimmer of recognition to that point. When he passes, he's saddened because it's Osha he's looking at. But I don't know if he's saddened because Osha has turned, quote unquote, or if he's saddened that the truth is out there and how she's looking at him. Like, I felt in that moment, I didn't feel like he was at all remorseful in a way that was not about how OSHA was looking at him for the things that he had done.
What do you think he meant when he said it's okay at the last moment?
He resigned himself to the fact that this was what she was going to do. But in that breath, it's like, it's okay, but what does that mean? It's okay. It's okay because of what I did to you.
Mm.
I don't buy the redemption of Saul, because I don't think he felt bad for what he did. I think he died believing in what he did.
What do you think about the tarnishing of his reputation beyond what he actually did after his death?
I mean, that's a Vanestra thing. That's her guilt will have to,
okay.
She's going to have to deal with her guilt.
Now
on that.
It's over there, huh, John?
Yeah.
We're not.
I put it over there. You know what I'm saying?
We can't weigh that with soul.
I'm not going to.
I see what you're doing.
I'm not going to do that.
I see what you're doing, you bureaucrat lover.
She's going to have to deal with that guilt of the truth of what she hid, and she's going to, that's going to come out eventually. Again, I just don't buy his redemption, because I don't think he felt that he did anything wrong.
Okay.
I'm not sure about that, Jean.
No, I know.
I think when he said it's okay, I think he was telling OSHA, go ahead and kill me.
Yeah.
I understand your anger. Your anger is justified. Given the path you have chosen, that is the logical thing to do. Almost, I give you permission to kill me, although it wasn't obviously at that level, because at that point, he had been defeated, but he didn't have any way to stop her. So,
but the thing that I'm saying is that the path she's chosen is because of him, and I don't think.
Well, I think that might be not giving me enough credit for her own choices.
No, I think
I would not want to. I would not want to say that her path is anything but her own to choose.
The path, I firmly believe that he set her on this path. If he had owned up in the very beginning and not gone the way that Indara wanted him to go, which he was clearly, questioning at the time, right? And had been honest any point in their relationship with what had transpired, would she have been angry? Would she have been mad? Would she have been hurt? Absolutely. Would she have killed them? Maybe not.
Well, probably not if she's, a new Padawan in the Jedi Temple. I don't think that would go down too well with people. But
whether Jedi Temple or not, what I'm saying is that I don't think she makes those choices that she made at the end.
I think she was as mad about him lying to her for 16 years as killing her mother, maybe even more so.
Yeah.
So that's my whole thing. I just never felt that he had any sense of remorse for the reason he did what he did. That's I guess that's my point.
Okay.
And I think he had massive amounts of remorse.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's
I'm in between. I'm Baby Bear.
Oh no. That is not acceptable.
All right, Marilyn, do you want to continue?
Sure. Again, I think the background of all these events is so incredibly important. As I understand it, but please correct me if I'm wrong, the Jedi have not too long ago just barely managed to overcome a very serious threat. The Nihil?
Yeah.
I love the association with nihilism, by the way.
There's a few.
The spelling is very close. To use of the Force and to establish cultures... barely managed to overcome a very serious threat to use of the Force and to establish cultures throughout the galaxy. I think they are still shaken by this, the Jedi, and it is particularly difficult for them to know who to trust and when, even with their Force-based mental abilities, which I suspect they may not use at the drop of a hat, particularly on allies. I don't think it's something that they, go around scanning everybody 24/7. Members of the Senate will have been equally shaken by this encounter, and, as is so often the case, afraid of things they don't understand or experience themselves. Who gets to oversee whom in this situation? And how can the Jedi answer questions when they don't know the answers themselves? Frankly, at this point, I fear the Senate more than I fear the creepy Sith Lord in Chimer's cave. Thoughts?
I think that might actually be the thing for the second season is like you see Plagueis and you're like, oh, he's the threat. But actually, it's the more mundane things that creep up in the background and end up being the more immediate threat.
Mm-hmm. By the way, in terms of Civil War, I'm definitely on Cap's side.
Yeah, me too.
It's so easy to judge the actions of other people in the past, says the historian. Sometimes hindsight is 20/20, but sometimes it just has no idea what was actually going on at the time and how that felt. Again, I find responsibility a much more useful thing to focus on than blame. And thank the Force that Vernestra is finally approaching Yoda for what I hope is some wisdom. There is so much of the story still to tell. How could they possibly not give us a second season?
Yeah.
All the best, Marilyn. And by the way, I'd love to see Saul as a Force ghost, but I'd be gobsmacked if they actually did it.
Yeah, I think they might be at the point in the timeline. At some point, they forget how to do it, and I'm assuming it's before this.
And then they pick it up
and
again.
then Qui-Gon is the one who rediscovers
Qui-Gon
it.
is the one who figures it.
I mean, now that we can talk about it, Yoda relearns the whole thing in the Clone Wars.
Right.
So he can't know how to do it before then.
Right.
Okay.
Right, that's true. Yeah, it must have been an old Republic skill.
Saul is one with the Force now in any case. So.
Yes. Oh, and what did Jackie say? That it's beautiful to watch someone become one with the Force, and then next episode...
So
she does.
Yeah. It's just it's so weird. Like that she was one of my favorite characters, but still my favorite episode is the one in which she dies because it was just so cool the way she died. And she went out strong, you know, she went out swinging for real.
Yes, she did. Yes, she did.
I mean, for a character who was there for less than half of the entire season, the impact that she's had is extraordinary.
Absolutely.
And
yeah.
I think that's partly, the way they wrote her, but I think it's also credit to the actor.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Daphne Keane. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, and Yord Horde, we see you too.
Yes.
All right. Well, I guess that brings our Acolyte Season 1 discussion to a close. There's going to be more Star Wars coverage, of course, to come on the Lorehounds feed. I guess the next thing is either going to be Skeleton Crew or the guys continuing their Star Wars movie club, whichever comes first. But we do have to mention that there's only a few days left to become a lore founder before that door closes. John, you're good at selling that.
Am I?
Yes, you are.
So. All right, folks, listen to me. We put out a shitload of podcasts. We really do. And now we're up to like 3 extra bonus podcasts a month, plus the bonus takes for a lot of these shows. I mean, you can't get a better deal than $3 a month for that amount of content. Plus, you get early and ad-free access. So usually it's like the night before it's going to go out. Because we do a lot of shows, pretty time sensitive right after the show comes out. Usually it'll be like the night before. So if you really want to, listen to our
sometimes
sweet voices
it's
right
like
before
a week
bed
before. Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes it's like a week before if it's something that can be
that's not time
scheduled ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we do early and ad-free access to all our podcasts, and ad breaks are annoying. I get it, and I too hate ads. So
yeah,
yeah.
And second breakfast, and yeah, there's the 11Z's movie club and stuff. But yeah, it's just mostly it's your last chance to join the lowest tier, $3. Lore Founder is the new name of it. And that door is going to close before August 1st. So on August 1st, it is closed. And then anyone who is inside the gates before then gets to keep that price forever, as long as they stay a member. Anyone who joins new or rejoins after leaving, the lowest tier from then on will be the $5 Lorehounds tier. Just FYI for anyone who's interested. And also, as far as Star Wars, there's going to be lots more Star Wars content, obviously, on the Star Wars Canon Timeline podcast. Upcoming episodes include a next one in 2 weeks will be Myths of the Old Republic with Marilyn. Yay!
Yay!
And then There's going to be more Visions episodes with Shelty and Marchin. We're going to do the earliest phase of the High Republic books, comics, and stories with John and Jean. Yay!
Yes.
I'm going to do the Darth Plagueis book with Bob. And then I'm going to get into the Fourth Era and do some origin stories of key characters from Obi-Wan to Maul.
Very cool.
Yeah, check out the link in the show notes for a link to that feed, to the Star Wars Canon Timeline podcast feed, if you want to sign up and make sure you don't miss those. There's also another link in the show notes where you can see all of the episodes, past, upcoming, all laid out in timeline order. So you can see the order of events of the first 3 eras are covered so far. Soon to be 4th. And yeah, thank you to Listu for becoming the OG Canon Padawan on Supercast. This is a title you shall hold forever.
Woohoo!
Wow.
See you back on
That's
that feed. Star Wars Canon Timeline podcast in 2 weeks, a day or so earlier for Canon Padawan subscribers. And yeah, you'll find those links again in the show notes, including lists of what stories and episodes and whatever will be covered in each episode. John, you want to tell us what else is on the network?
Oh, plenty of stuff. Plenty of stuff. Rings and Rituals. Marilyn, why don't you tell us what's going on in Rings and Rituals?
Well, as of the time of this recording, the final episode for season 1 of Rings and Rituals will be coming out tomorrow. But by the time you hear this, it will already have been out.
Mm-hmm.
And both Sarah and I are already very eager to see season 2, but we're not going to start our season 2 of Rings and Rituals for a while after that. I don't really know how long at this point, but we think it works best to let everything simmer and marinate for a while before we turn to the kind of analysis that we do. So everybody's been very lovely with their comments and enthusiastic. It's going to be a fun feedback episode. So I hope that listeners will enjoy it as well.
And you're
Very
going to
cool.
be talking about Rings of Power Live, John and David, right?
I am so looking forward to that. I'm like
Awesome.
a kid in a candy store. I'm going to get screeners. I hope. We hope.
Oh
we
man,
hope.
that would be a great time. See, I'm trying to now pitch a third podcast for the show a week of a lore cast where we dive into like a very specific piece of lore that had to do with the episode. It might be too much, but I think we could do it in like a 30-minute chunk, right? Like just this, hey, here's a supplement. Oh man, you're right.
Really?
You're right.
30
We're going to
minutes.
talk about
30
Osanwe
Really?
Kenta, and then it's all over.
30 minutes? No. No.
Okay.
30 minutes.
No.
All right. all right.
I love you dearly, John. Your optimism never ceases to amaze me.
I'm certainly not a Sith. All right. Fair enough. Let's talk. Wait, David's going to hear
Absolutely.
this podcast and be like, what the hell is he planning? Because
John, I will talk lore with you anytime, anywhere that we have mutually matching schedules. So
there you go.
let's just leave it at that.
There you go. Let's see. Other than that, House of the Dragon is keeping going. We're going to do Rings of Power in the fall, of course. And plenty of more content coming. Silmarillion stories. I have an episode with New Better Do Better coming out next week.
Yeah.
And really great guy, by the way. Very,
He
very,
is.
very smart person. I mean,
He
he
is
knows his
fabulous.
Tolkien. And I have guests lined up now through like October. So
Awesome.
we have plenty of people coming.
Excellent.
It's gonna be very exciting. And just keeping going with stuff. I know David has alien stuff coming, but I'm trying to keep things to like the week of now because otherwise it gets too unruly.
Right.
So I'll let him tell you
Can I-
about
Much
that later.
content.
Can I do one sort of commercial bit here?
Sure.
I will be a guest on Lore of the Rings with
Oh,
Aaron.
Oh, we love Aaron.
Yeah, he's great. We'll be recording next week or the week after. I don't know when it's going to drop on his feed, but again, we're going to talk about Rings and Rituals and,
Awesome.
and that sort of thing. So you can put that in as a after dinner mint from the final feedback episode for the
Very
season
cool.
1.
Nice.
Very cool.
And next week, we're doing Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Fun. That's all I got.
All right. Shall we do our thank yous? I do have music lined up, of course.
Oh, yes.
Are you ready for this, John?
I am so ready.
All right, here we go. First song.
Ooh.
Mhm.
We would like to thank our Discord server boosters, which are Gnarls, Aaron K. Tiller the Thriller. Dork of the Ninjas. Doob 71. Captain Gingy 56. And Athena Agileia.
All right, lore masters.
Martian Michael G. Michelle E. David W. Brian P. SC. Peter O.H. Bettina W. Adam S. Nancy M. Duve 71. Brian 8063. Frederick H. Sarah L. Gareth C. Breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. And relax. Eric F. Matthew M. Sarah M. DJ Miwa. Andra B.
Wow, this one gets
Wong
loud.
Yu. Deadeye Jedi. Bob. Nathan T. Alex V. Sub-Zero. Aaron T. Aaron K. Deli V. Oh my god, I'm gonna cough now. Mothership 61. Gnarls. Kathy W. Stewart B. I need one more, Alicia. Come on.
I think we're gonna repeat. Oh, whoops! That's not the
Oh,
right one.
That's not it. That's not it.
All right, Kathy W. Stewart B.
Not it.
Jeffrey B. Elisa U. Adrian. Thank you all. You're all lovely people. And this has gotten too silly
Yay.
now.
And now, this time I mean it.
The Lorehounds podcast is produced and published by The Lorehounds. You can send questions and feedback and voicemails at thelorehounds.com/contact. Get early and ad-free access to all Lorehounds podcasts at patreon.com/thelorehounds. And connect with us on Twitter at The Lorehounds. Any opinions stated are ours personally and do not reflect the opinion of or belong to any employers or other entities. Thanks for listening.